Exclamation, everybody, and welcome back to Cube Ramblings. For me, it is Saturday night, almost Sunday morning, November the 14th, 2015. I hope everybody's had an excellent week. There's a lot been going on in one particular game. We'll get to in a little bit, but other than that, it's been a rather eventful week for me, and I've been looking at several different things going on, and I want to catch you up on some of the things that I've been looking at. The news is not there's not too much to talk about this week as far as news articles go. It's been mostly dominated by the aforementioned one game that we will talk about in a little bit. But before we get to that, some Cube World updates. Yay! Been going through the tweets from Wale from the past week. Also looked at the SoundCloud, and apparently he put up a new audio clip on SoundCloud called "The Adventure Begins." And that apparently went up like while I was recording last week's episode, so that's why I did not see it until after that. I saw it right after that. I'm like, oh man, poor timing on my part. But that has been up there for a little while. I haven't had a chance to actually listen to it yet, unfortunately, but it does have a picture in the thumbnail of the new one of the new quests where you open up a portal and you need the mages, I believe, to help you out with that, with all the runes around it. So very interesting stuff there. But it looks like there's been a lot of new announcements as far as things that skill trees and whatnot. We got a lot of different things here. First of all, new armor types are going to be introduced into the game. Steel, filament, rivet, and mail armor. One of those, I believe, is going to come from the Brotherhood of Steel, or whatever they're called. I think it's the mail armor for that. All the other ones you can pretty much. Is it Brotherhood of Steel? I don't remember at this point. There's so many different things in my brain from all the different games are just meshing together, all the factions now. There's a new assassination rogue skill where your rogue can jump on the back of your opponents and stab them repeatedly for much damage had. So that's pretty cool. Ninjas will have a new skill which temporarily improves their intercept and shuriken attacks. That'll be kind of cool to see as well. The scouts will have a new skill. It's called a quicksand trap that they can deploy out on the field, and it will slow all of your, any of the opponents in the area of effect of it. And snipers now can summon a shadow shooter. Basically, the shadow will shadow all their movements, mimic all their movements. And I assume will be the one that actually draws the attention of the enemy. Otherwise, I don't see it being a whole lot of use. But it probably acts as sort of a shadow tank, so they'll come after your shadow guy while you shoot them from a different angle, perhaps. Water mages will be able to create water bubbles that stick to enemies and slow them down, and then when they explode, they do a bunch of damage to them, as well as healing up any nearby allies. So it's kind of like a transfusion grenade or something. Like in Borderlands, they have the transfusion grenade where you basically steal life from the enemy and apply it to your character, that kind of thing. So that sounds really cool. That would be one of those good things to have if you play it multiplayer and have a bunch of allies in a party. Just you can do some damage and still at the same time be the healer of the group as well. Fire mages are going to get a flame rush, which allows them to, as you can probably gather, move very quickly and also leave a trail of flames behind them, which will damage any enemies in their in their hindquarters. So there you go. Berserkers will now have a rock fist that will deal massive damage and also serve as their dash. So they'll dash forward slightly, or I assume it's like a slight dash forward, and then the fist of fury will be unleashed and smash their opponents for a huge amount of damage. Guardians now have a heroic shout that they can spout out, which will basically tank them. They turn into tanks that will taunt all the enemies around to come after them, and as well as doing that, also buff any nearby allies with some kind of, it said a hot effect, H-O-T. I'm trying to think of what that actually stands for. I was thinking, I was like, healing of something, but I can't really think of what that would stand for. But there you go. And as I mentioned, the new music. So that's still getting some relatively frequent tweets now, and some updates here and there. Lots and lots of pictures to go through. So it's a lot more activity now than what we've had in the past. So it's very, very excited for that. So many things on my radar now. It's just I can't. sometimes I just can't deal with it. It's like there's just so much going on. But it's everything is looking up on the up and up on that. So I am staying cautiously optimistic and hoping beyond hope that we'll get an update at some point. Probably, I would imagine we're starting to run out of time in this year, but who knows? Maybe there's still some time to get a Christmas present from Wale, perhaps. So that was Cube World, and then you may not know this, you may not have heard this yet. It may come as a shock to you, but there's a game out that came out this week. Little known game, little known franchise. I mean, there's not really much to fall out on. That didn't work. Fall back, fall out. I was trying, but yes, Fallout 4 came out this week. And holy hell, did everybody and their grandmother talk about it. I mean, the water cooler was just that. It was just Fallout 4 all day, every day. And in fact, a few have gone to the lengths of actually counting how many people were streaming the game and so on and so forth. And apparently, it broke records on Steam for the peak concurrent players. It had about 245,000 concurrent players. Sorry. That was 245,000 viewers on Twitch, or watching streams of it. And then the peak concurrent players on Steam. Why is that a different thing? Why must you break this over into 15 different articles? 390,000 players was the peak, which is greater than Grand Theft Auto 5, which was the previous record holder of the most concurrent players on Steam, according to Steam charts. So yeah, 390,000 people were playing Fallout 4 at the same time, at least on Steam anyway. Obviously, that doesn't count all the consoles and whatnot. And about 240,000, is that what I said? 248,000 were watching it across both Twitch and YouTube gaming during the first 12 hours of the release, which for me was like, so 12 a.m. till noon, basically. So I didn't start streaming it until much later than that. So I obviously wasn't counted. So I didn't skew those results by restreaming it to both YouTube and Twitch, which I did do. So So you can strike that one off there. But yeah, that was it was quite the thing. It was top dog for a little while there on Twitch, and then eventually it was supplanted again by League of Legends and Counter-Strike Go and all those things that are normally at the top of viewership. Apparently the top channel was getting about 28,000 viewers at one point in time during that. So lots and lots of people playing it. I just went on, I follow a bunch of YouTubers on YouTube. Obviously, I subscribe to a bunch is what I was trying to say. And I was looking through my subscription box while I was rendering a video out to go watch something, and pretty much everything is Fallout 4 or StarCraft 2, Legacy of the Void. That's pretty much my entire, every person that I follow almost. That's pretty much all that was going on. So I feel kind of bad because I've contributed even more to that. It's like, hey, I heard you all are liking Fallout, so here's some more Fallout. It's so much for being being some kind of variety, bringing some variety to things. And I do intend eventually to do a recap of that stream. I'm targeting possibly Monday because my day today was completely blown out. Had family stuff and birthday parties and things to go to, so I didn't get a chance to really record anything. That's also why I didn't live stream on Friday. I wanted to at least be able to get something recorded because I knew that my Saturday was going to be blown out and not being able to do what I normally do, which is sit down and record for several hours at a time. So that is that. I am hoping to do some more streams of Fallout 4, probably do them off the beaten path. The one I did on Tuesday night when it was released, knowing that Friday was going to be a rough one to do a stream on. And I probably do some more off-kilter streams along the way. Obviously, I want to get back to the Friday stream on Friday. I still want to continue playing Borderlands because I'm, 20 some odd hours into it, and I really want to get at least Borderlands 1 done. Because my problem now is I've got a lot of these long-running games that I would like to get through. I mean, obviously, I still have Mad Max there on the back burner, which I have not gotten back to in a while. And I've got some things on the Xbox One, which I just booted up into just a few hours ago to get the latest update on. And I've got, literally my hard drive on there is at 93%, so I need to start actually playing some games. I have a bunch of biggies on there, I still have Shadows of Mordor on there, which I have not touched at all. And I've got Destiny, which I would like to touch, but geez Louise, if I can get the net code to work on that would be great. And I've got Need for Speed Rivals. Need for Speed Rivals, I think it is. Yeah, I think that's the one. It's got the cops versus the criminals thing. I bought that a while ago, and I've wanted to do that as my next, open world-ish racing game thing. But I haven't gotten around to it yet, and given that I want to continue doing a variety on the channel, I thought, this might be a good thing to do next, get back into the racing stuff for a little bit. But we'll see. I also wanted to go back to my roots a little bit and get some No One Lives Forever recorded and various other things. There's so many things that I wanted to do, and there's also, like I was saying, I have the problem where I got a lot of long-running games, and I don't have enough short-running ones, because I like the idea of being able to get something done in like 15 episodes or so. Like Transformers Devastation was great for that. Victor Vran, I think, is going to be pretty good for that, although they're saying that it takes like 20 hours to do the main campaign on that. I don't know if that's the case or not, but because it's been up and down there. It's like some say 20, some say like 10. I don't know. I don't know what that's going to be on that, but I picked that one because it's going to be it'll be done relatively quickly as far as, my series go. And it's nice to have like a series that doesn't take, 10 months to get through, or is never ending, from time to time. Cause it does tend to, I don't want to say junk up the channel, but it tends to get old, quickly sometimes, for people watching. So that's why I've been trying to target those little things here and there. But yeah, there's still a ton of games that are just ridiculously long. So there's going to be more of that coming. And speaking of things that are kind of hanging out on the edges, on the fringes here, I still have, I many moons ago, I had the intention of playing The Last Federation, and I played one episode of it. It wasn't even I don't even think it was a side quest video. It was just here's episode 1 of this. Maybe it was a side quest video. I'm not entirely sure. It was a while ago. And my intention was to come back to that at some point and play a proper series on it. Now, unfortunately, as my problem always is, I overtaxed myself, and I have way too many things on my list that I want to do versus what I can do, and all that stuff. But The Last Federation came back onto my radar again, for 2 reasons. One is that The Last Federation Lost Technologies is a DLC that just came out. It's I believe it's like $4 or so. And just came out on Steam. It's basically, what's the gist of it? It's got like small, it's filling in all the small pieces of the game, like some side effects, and some more technologies have been added to the game, as you might imagine, since it's called The Lost Technologies, and hydral techs and various other things, dual, motivations they're saying for different technologies, and new ring world planet types, and some champion type enemies, and so on and so forth. So that sort of brought it back into my thought, into the front of my brain. It's always been kind of hanging around in the back. The thing about it is, and I want to do a proper series on it, because it's RTS, and I do a little bit of RTS stuff here and there, and with Concrete Jungle, with me hitting the ceiling, the skill ceiling in Concrete Jungle, where I just can't move forward in that game despite my best efforts. Yeah, with me not being able to move forward in that game despite my best efforts, there is a little bit of a hole there in the schedule where I can do things. I've been trying to figure out what I want to put there. As I've mentioned a few times, I really do want to play Star Trek Birth of the Federation, because I know that that's one that I can, I'll probably just do one world on that and just do one playthrough from start to end, and then that's that. I'll just do one Federation playthrough, and then and it'll probably be like 20 episodes or something like that, and then just be done with it. And it'll be like, I've wanted to get a Star Trek game on my channel for forever. It's just I've been trying to A, get them to work, and B, find the one that I can do on there. And it's at the same time, I want that, but I also did want to revisit The Last Federation. The thing that sort of hangs me up about it, and this is not the fault of Arcane Games or anything like that, I get very intimidated by 4X strategy games, real-time strategy games that sort of, what's the best way I can say it, sort of dump you into the game, are not, I don't know, dumbed down a little bit for a filthy casual like me. It's a very weird phenomenon with me, where it's like, I had the same problem with another Arcane game, AI War, where the game was recommended to me by a colleague, and they thought the world of it, and I tried playing it for about 90 minutes or so, which ironically is about how long I've played The Last Federation as well. And I just got like really, I don't want to say put off by the game, but I was just very, it wasn't relaxing. It's the best way I can put it. Like, I was getting anxiety playing the game because I felt like the game was too highbrow for me. Is that the right word to use? It was over my head. I felt like I was sinking and not swimming in the games. And to be fair, I feel, I haven't played enough of the game to really understand it. And the same thing with The Last Federation. I haven't played enough of the game to really understand it, but I just get that anxiety whenever I load up the game. Like, I don't know if I'm going to do this or not. I don't know. My biggest fear is that I will start playing a game and then just get completely destroyed and not know what I could have done differently. Right, and that's the thing that always bugs me. That's the thing that's been bugging me about Concrete Jungle. That was the thing that was bugging me about Chroma Squad as well. It's like you get to a point, and the game's been sort of like, it's like the game's been stringing you along the whole time, and then it's like, all right, now I'll deal with this, and then you try to play it, and you're like, I don't know what I am doing wrong, and how I can fix it. The Concrete Jungle is a good example of that. Like, I'm playing this one AI guy, and I cannot beat him. Like, I get all the way to the end, and I'm winning all the way, and then the last 3 columns, he just wipes the board. He just goes like 20 points, and I'm like, and then beats me by 3 points. And I'm like, I don't know. Sorry, I hit the mic there. I don't know what I did wrong, because I was doing right the whole way along, and it's just all of a sudden, it's like it's snatched away from you, and you don't know how to fix it, right? And I hate that feeling. I just hate it. I feel like the game's like talking down to me, like, oh, you're too stupid to play this game. Like, I really do. And it's just, I understand that, the game is meant to get harder as it goes on, but those things like that just, they irk me out. They cause a lot of stress for me, because I'm like, I really feel like I should know how to do this. I've played, 6 other hours of this game. I should know what's going on here and what I'm doing wrong, and that's not coming to me at all. And I get that same feeling when I'm looking at like The Last Federation, AI War, I got it from, those kinds of things. Where it's like, I have a feeling, even though I haven't played enough of the game to really tell, I just have that feeling like I'm going to start playing it, and then I'm going to get 7 hours into it, and then just lose at the end and not know what I could have done differently to fix it. And then that just causes me stress and frustration and all those other things. I'm like, screw this. This is terrible. I can't deal with this. And even more so when you're recording yourself. Like, if I wasn't even if I wasn't recording myself, it would have still caused a lot of stress in me. But there's an additional amount of stress on top of it, because it's like, you want people to be able to see hey, here's somebody making progress in the game. You don't necessarily want to keep throwing videos out there and be like, oh yeah, I died again. Here I go, I died again. Just same thing over and over again. Just keep throwing myself at the same person. Although that said, plenty of live streamers out there played Bloodborne, so I guess there is an audience for that, where you just constantly throw yourself to the pit of fire and hope that at some point you'll figure out how to fix it. But it's for me, that just it takes some of the appeal away from it. That said, I'm going to sit down, and I am going to, at some point, hopefully this week, I'm going to sit down and I am going to play The Last Federation. I'm going to probably play it on easy, because like I said, I can't figure out these games sometimes. So I'm going to play it on easy. I'm going to wimp out on it. I'm going to be just an absolute filthy casual. And I think that is going to be a series for a little while. I'm going to try it out. I'm going to try one game, win or lose at the end. If I lose, 300 turns in and I only get 2 episodes out of it, then that's so be it. But I just want to try it out, and I want to see if I can figure it out. And if I get to a point where I feel like I'm figuring things out and how things are working and all different mechanics of the system, then maybe it'll be a longer series. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just gonna dip my toe in the water, because the other thing I hate to do is, and a lot of people say this, they're like, well, just go look on the wiki and find all the stuff on the wiki, and here's all the tactics, and here's all the meta game, and here's all this. I'm like, I'm not a good wiki guy. I really aren't. I'm really not. I prefer to just go into the game and try to figure things out. Which is why when you have these like crafting games like Minecraft, where all the crafting recipes are out on the wiki, it just frustrates the crap out of me, because I'm like, oh, now I gotta jump out of the game, I gotta go look this thing up because I can never remember what it is, and so on and so forth. I feel the same way with that. Like, a good example of that is Kerbal Space Program, where I really want to learn that game, but I want to do it by failing a lot. And unfortunately, it's hard to do that and also make entertaining videos, which is why I've not done any videos on YouTube yet of Kerbal Space Program. I've considered doing live streams of them, and I decided not to do live streams of them either, because did I do a live stream of it? I might have done one live stream of it. I might have. I think possibly I did. But I shy away from that too, because it's like, the game's been out for so long that it just ends up being a lot of frustration from people who are like, why don't you just look up the wiki? Why don't you just do this? I'm like, I don't want to. Why don't you look at all these videos? I'm like, I don't really want to. First of all, reading the wiki and looking at somebody else's videos usually doesn't help me that much. I'm sure it helps other people, but for me, it never seems to help, because I need to do it for myself in order to really understand what's going on, a lot of times. But it also takes, I don't know, it takes a little bit of the fun out of it, kind of, where there's fun to be had in really messing up, right? I mean, yes, there's frustration to be had there too, if you're messing up constantly. But if you just mess up a little bit here and there, and then you figure out, oh, okay, because I messed up, here's what I did wrong, and now I'm able to fix it. And now the sense of accomplishment's much greater than if you just like, well, I'm just going to go look up how somebody did this, and then I'm just going to replicate that. And it's like, well, okay, that's great, but it doesn't have the same sense of as I said, sense of accomplishment to it. But sometimes you're just licked too. There's been many times where I'll look up a video on some contraption in Minecraft and be like, okay, I'm not good in redstone, so I'll go look something up and try to replicate what they've done, and usually fail at it, but sometimes I succeed in different ways than what they had. And it's nice to be able to have a little bit of a nudge over the mental block that you have, but then once you've gotten past that, it's much more satisfying to get to have the light bulb go off for yourself rather than because someone pointed you at something. It's kind of how I feel about it sometimes. So when I look at like the Last Federation and stuff, I just get that feeling like I'm going to get really far into this game and then just be completely screwed because I didn't understand all the meta game or what's going on behind the scenes or dice rolls or whatever else might be happening. So that's kind of why it's been a long time since I come back to it, as far as trying to do a series on it. So I do want to revisit that also. I believe I received a key for it from the developers for the Lost Technologies expansion, which I would have bought myself anyway. I was saving honestly, because I've been buying I've had a few other purchases this month, including one that was a rather large Kickstarter for something called Screens, which is an interesting concept that would help me out a bunch if it actually works, because I only have one monitor and it allows you to like have different screens go onto your one monitor and not interfere with one another, sort of. So we'll see if that's as good as they say it is, but that was getting into the Kickstarter for that was rather expensive. It's the most expensive Kickstarter I've ever backed, and so the wallet's hurting a little bit this month at least. So yeah, because of those things coming together, I feel like I want to sit down and play the Last Federation properly. Like I said, I'll probably turn it on easy mode, because I really want to learn it first in a relatively stable environment and learn all the mechanics and all the different things I got to look at and all that stuff. Because that's the other thing that kind of throws me off a bit, is that they throw a lot of information at you in various menus and submenus and stuff. And they're not, that's not the only game to do that. A lot of these 4X games do that. And it sometimes I feel like I'm overwhelmed with numbers and I don't know what I'm looking at. There's been a couple early alpha games that I've been looking at that are doing sort of the same thing, where it's like, here's all these relationship numbers and all this stuff, and here's where you stand with this and do all that stuff. I'm like, I appreciate the effort and I appreciate the work you've put into that, but holy hell, man, it's like looking at a spreadsheet. It's like there's just too many things going on here and I cannot process what I'm looking at. The same thing happens to me with the random loot drops in like Borderlands and stuff. Like I start looking at the stats, I'm like, well, this one's got this and that, but then this one has these special abilities underneath it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to sell this. Screw it. I like the gun that I have, even if it's not the best one. It's like if I have to stare at numbers for more than like 20 to 30 seconds and trying to figure something out, then I usually am just like, all right, I'm just going to flip a coin and just pick something. Which makes me probably the worst 4X player ever to exist, but it's just I have little patience for trying to troll through numbers and and figure out, is this number bigger than that one, and what does that mean that this is bigger than that one? Is that a positive, is that a negative, is this that, or that, or the other thing? Which is pretty hilarious to say, because I played through Star Trek: The Birth of the Federation several times, and that's another one that's got like numbers galore. But the nice thing about that is you can ignore quite a few of those numbers as you're playing it. So yeah, that was a long-winded me of just saying, hey, I might play some of the Last Federation finally. I might pull that back off the shelf again and try to actually do a series on that. But I wanted to explain the background on that, and that I believe I have a key for it, for the expansion. I only briefly glanced at the email. Normally I email people back right away and like, oh, cool, thanks, and all that stuff. It's been such a weird, hectic week for me right now that at work and everything, that I just glanced over it really quickly and haven't really fully processed what was said there, because definitely I saw a key in it, and I believe it was a Steam key, and I believe it was for the full thing, not just a DLC, but I'm not entirely sure. I mean, I own the full game already, so I would think that it would be just for the DLC, because I don't think the full game thing's going to work. But even if it doesn't, I'll just buy the DLC. I don't care. It's only like $5 or something like that. So, but yeah, it's so many things on my mind. I also did not do a side quest video on Friday. I was recording some things, and then I just felt like I didn't know enough about the game that I was recording yet to really do it justice, and so I kind of just I was also feeling a little bit like I was just really tired and just worn out. It's been a rough week. It's my sleep pattern has been very strange this week. It's with the weather change and the drier, colder air. It's just like it makes it so that even though I pass out and sleep during the night, I don't actually get any restful sleep. And so this week has been just a lot of me being almost in a semi-zombie-like state. So hopefully we'll get back to actually having some I'll have some meaningful sleep hopefully in the next couple days, and that'll perk me right back up. I would assume, or I would hope anyway. So it was a combination of that. It was a combination of tiredness, and also just I didn't have enough time this week to really do some research and really dig into some of the games. So that's why I skipped that on Friday. I do have a bunch of games I want to get through, or not through, but I want to get videos out on, and so on and so forth. I just need to play a little bit more of them so I understand what I'm actually presenting. I also kind of copped out with what was it, Clandestine, because I had already played the game before, so I knew what I was getting into for the most part, so it was easy for me to just do a video on it, an hour-long video on it, because I kind of already knew it. In the absence of that, I might not have had any videos, any side quest videos this week, because it's been rough. But yeah, all that stuff will return to normal hopefully this next week. Although we do have, as I have on here, the Game of Thrones episode 6, Telltale Game of Thrones episode 6, The Ice Dragon, is coming out on the 17th. I do intend on playing through it like I always do. It'll probably end up being 4 episodes like it always is, because those episodes are usually about 2 hours long. So I intend on doing that. So, that will take the Victor Vran slot Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, probably, assuming it's going to be 4 days, and assuming it comes out on the 17th, as they say. Usually it does. Usually it's on Tuesdays, so that will be good, and that's also assuming I get a chance to record it, which I should be able to. So all those things coming together, we will have another Game of Thrones. It will be the episode 6 is the final episode of the season for Telltale Game of Thrones. So we should be seeing a good, we should be seeing a wrap up of the story as it's been going, and we'll see if all my choices have led to the Foresters finally just dying out, or just succeeding in restoring their family. We'll have to see. It'll be an interesting one. It'll also be a depressing one, I'm sure. The depression alone, I feel like I'm kind of glad that it's the last episode, just because I really like Tales from the Borderlands, and I prefer to be playing something like that. So even if there is a second season of Telltale Game of Thrones, I may not end up recording it. I'll probably end up playing it, but I may not end up recording it, because it's just too much of a Debbie Downer for me. It really is. I just need something that's a little less that. That said, I still waiting for Blues and Bullets to come out, the second episode of that, and I picked up a game. I don't know. My intention is to play this. It's an episodic game. It's a isometric view, and it's sort of like the Telltale games, kind of, but it does have some gun mechanics and stuff in it, and it is top down and things like that, some investigative stuff. It's called Majestic Nights, and it's got very, very mixed reviews on Steam right now. I looked at some of the negative reviews, and I'm like, there's some points in there, but a lot of them are just, they are just your typical run-of-the-mill negative reviews on Steam, where it's just people complaining about dumb stuff, or stuff that shouldn't really matter, but it does to them. But it's I picked it up. I don't know if it's going to be a video or not. My intention is to sit down and record it. So far, it's been out for a while. It's actually it's up to episode 2 right now. So when I purchased it, I got the season pass, and I got the episode 0, episode 1, episode 2 on it. And that's I literally stumbled onto this thing. I was just looking at the Steam new releases. I'm like, oh, what's this? Because episode 2 just came out. Well, yeah, what's this thing? What's that thing? And I dug into it, and I was like, okay, it's the world of this game is, if any conspiracy theory was correct, they're all correct. And so some people have described the story as being kind of like a Deus Ex-y thing, where the original Deus Ex, where it was like all these conspiracy, the Illuminati and Majestic 12 and aliens in Roswell and all that stuff was true to some extent, and secret government organizations or non-governmental organizations or whatever you want to call them, all vying for power. And so in that setting, I was like, well, I'd like to take a look at it and see what it's like. It's got kind of a cel-shaded Borderlands look to it as well, which may or may not work as far as the aesthetic goes, but it's I want to at least give it a shot, and we'll see if I end up recording episode 0 and I look at it and I'm like, I don't really like this, or I'm not enjoying the game, or it's not coming out quite right, then you'll probably never see the video of it. That video will just get deleted. But if it ends up being something pretty cool, then I'd like to do that. It feels like something I can probably knock out relatively quickly. It sounds like each episode's about an hour long, so I can probably, it'll be just a little short series, and then it'll be another one that just sits and waits for the next episode to come out of it. So it's we'll see. I'm trying all these little things here. trying to get some videos up on the channel that are of games that maybe don't get a whole lot of videos on them, which is it's a mixed bag, right? On one hand, it's good because you're getting to see games that you maybe have never heard of. On the other hand, because you never heard of them, you would never know to search for them on YouTube, so no one will ever see the video. It's kind of it's a weird dichotomy there, but it's the life of the YouTuber right there. So that's kind of what I'm going for. Like I said, I have a bunch of games on the Xbox One that I really want to get through, but I need to figure out how I'm going to do that. They're large games, very large games. I have so many. I went from like these nice little, 20-hour games to like I have a whole library now of like 60, 70, 90, 100-hour games. I still have to go back into The Witcher 3. I still have some footage of The Witcher 3 that I haven't edited yet, and it's just so much stuff. It's so good. It's such a good time to be a gamer, but at the same time, it is very, very exhausting when you like many different games. Because there's a huge variety out there now, a huge variety. The advent of the digital stores and all that stuff and digital downloads it's mind-blowing from a hobbyist perspective, because it's like there's just so much choice now, and it's also hurts. It hurts in the wallet too a little bit from time to time. Speaking of the Xbox One, like I said earlier, I just fired it up a few hours ago to get the latest update, which updates your entire dashboard on there, and also gives you access to the backwards compatibility stuff. Yes, I have not seen any of my games show up there yet, but most of my games on the 360 were on disc, so I didn't have a whole lot of digital downloads that I did. Most of my digital downloads and digital purchases were for Xbox Live indie games, and I'm hoping some of those games show up again, because that would be rather awesome and cool. But there's a couple in there that aren't even supported anymore, so I doubt that they'll see a reemergence on the Xbox One. But that would be really nice. But yeah, I have to basically grab all my discs at some point and load them up and try to get some games on there for the 360. I have the whole list here so far. It's a pretty big one as far as what backward compatibility is there. By the way, if you have a digital download for the 360, if it's a digital game, it just shows up in your game library. It's just there. It's just yet another game. You might have to scroll all the way over to the right because it won't be an installed game. They show all the non-installed games as like little thumbnails as opposed to the normal tiles that they have. But they should all show up there if they're digital. If they're CD based or disc based, you have to load the disc up, and then it will install it and find. Hopefully, if you had cloud saves on, it should hopefully find your save files and stuff. Maybe. So that is going on with that, and then the list of the Xbox One titles that are compatible. The Xbox 360 titles that are compatible with the Xbox One right now, as of the 12th of November. A Kingdom for Keflings, a world. So there's 104 of them, so I'm just going to read them off. A Kingdom for Keflings, A World of Keflings, Alien Hominid HD, Assassin's Creed 2, Asteroids and Deluxe, Banjo-Kazooie, Nuts and Bolts, Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie, Battle Block Theater, Bejeweled 2, Belater, MMA Onslaughts, Beyond Good and Evil HD, Blood of the Werewolf, Blood Rain, Betrayal, Borderlands, Call of Juarez Gunslinger, Castle Crashers, Castle Storm, Centipede and Millipede, Condemned, Crazy Taxi, Deadliest Warrior Legends, Defense Grid, Dirt 3, Dirt Showdown, Discs of Tron, Doom 2, Dungeon Siege 3. Dungeon Siege is another game. I have Dungeon Siege 1 on the PC. Man, I gotta revisit that. I never finished that game. Like, I got like 10, 15 hours into that game and then never finished it because I got bored of it. I should really revisit that at some point because that was a really good game, but that's another one of those like 30, 40 hour games. Earthworm Jim HD, Fable 2, that's a game I have. Fallout 3, Feeding Frenzy 2, Gears of War 1, 2, and 3, and Gears of War Judgment. Golden Axe, Halo Spartan Assault, Hardwood Backgammon, Hardwood Hearts, Hardwood Spades, Heavy Weapon, Hexic HD, Ikaruga, Jetpack Refueled, Joyride Turbo, A Just Cause 2, that's a game that I have, but I also have that on PC, so there's no reason for me to do the 361 on that. Cameo, I guess is how you pronounce that. Lego Pirates of the Caribbean, the video game, Lego Star Wars, the complete saga, which I have. Which one do I have? I have just the first one, I think. Maybe I have the complete saga. I don't remember. I don't remember what I have that on. I might have that on the PSP, actually. The thing that I have not pulled out of mothballs in ages. May not even work anymore. Load Runner, Lumens Live, Mass Effect, there's a game I have. Metal Slug 3, Metal Slug XX, I don't know if that's, you say XX or you say 20, I don't know. I wish they would be consistent about Roman numerals and not. Might and Magic Clash of Heroes, Mirror's Edge, which I own on PC and I've already played on the PC, so there's no reason for me to do anything with that. Missile Command, Monday Night Combat, Monkey Island 2 Special Edition, Monkey Island Special Edition, Ms. Splosion Man, Mutant Blobs Attack N+, NBA Jam on Fire Edition, Nights into Dreams, OF Dragon Rising. OF. What does OF stand for? Interesting. I don't think I've ever heard of that one. Pac-Man CE, Pac-Man CE DX Plus, Perfect Dark, Perfect Dark Zero, which actually I own those on the Xbox One because I bought the rare replay. I bought, and it came with Perfect Dark and Perfect Dark Zero, and I intended to actually play through some of that on the channel. I was starting to play Perfect Dark, and I got like I wanted to play it a little bit just to sort of get the feel for it, and I got stuck on the first level. I couldn't figure out how to get past it, so I was like, well, okay, we're gonna put this on the back burner for right now and then come back to it, and possibly do it as a let's play at some point. Phantom Breaker Battlegrounds, Pinball FX, Plants vs. Zombies, Prince of Persia, Putty Squad, R-Type Dimensions, Rayman 3 HD, Sacred Citadel, Sega Vintage Collection, Alex Kidd and Company, Golden Axe, Monster World, and Streets of Rage, all in the Vintage Collection there. They have a Streets of Rage in the Sega Vintage Collection? That would be kind of cool. I should probably look that up. Shadow Complex, Sonic CD, Sonic the Hedgehog, 1, 2, and 3, Super Meat Boy, Supreme Commander 2, The Stick of Truth. I don't know if that... It doesn't say South Park, The Stick of Truth, but I imagine that's what it's supposed to be, but I didn't realize that was released on the 360, so I don't know. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Vegas, 1 and 2, Torchlight, Toy Soldiers, Toy Soldiers Cold War, Tron Evolution, Ugly Americans Apocalypsegeddon, which I have never, ever heard of, so I have no idea what that is. Viva Pinata and Viva Pinata Tip, TIP, I don't know what that stands for. Wolfenstein 3D, and Zuma. Good old. Zuma was one of those web games at some point. Who made that? Not Congregate, but it's one of those weird companies that was just doing Flash games at some point, and I can't remember the name of it. But anyway, that is the whole list of 104 so far that are backwards compatible. I'm sure we'll get more ideas of more of those as they come up. Also, you can, if you didn't own the digital copies of those, you can actually go on the Xbox 360 store, buy the digital copy, and play that on your Xbox One. So, if you wanted to. Some of those, though, have Xbox One releases, so I don't know why you would do the 360 version and then on there if you can do the Xbox One version, but some of those don't. So that's the best I can do. I was searching in my brain for something to say next, and nothing was coming through to my lips for that. But there you go. That is that's basically all the news that I have. The other news is Rise of Tomb Raider has some Twitch integrations with it. But yeah, we might as well talk about it. I've introduced it. I might as well talk about it. This will probably be the last topic, though. So if you're a Twitch viewer and your favorite Twitch streamer is streaming Rise of the Tomb Raider, which I don't think too many have been, but if they are, it does have integration with Twitch, where you can go and affect the streamer in either positive or negative ways if they are playing the expeditions section of the game and not the story. I guess there's some expedition section. I don't know, but in that you can there's a bunch of cards apparently, and every 6 minutes did they say? Every 6 minutes. I'm trying to look for the number here. Every 6 minutes, viewers will be asked to vote on one of two cards to apply to the player's game. That card will then be active for the next 5 minutes or until the player dies or restarts. And there's about 64 cards that will get randomly shuffled, and then you get to pick between, you and the viewers get to vote between one or two of those. They determine Lara Croft outfits and equipment. They can also make the game harder by restricting health regen or ammo, easier by making enemies that land a melee attack have a chance of bursting into flame is one of them, or sillier, big head mode, your bow fires chickens instead of arrows, so on and so forth. So it's basically what we've seen thus far with the Twitch integration, where users can either help or hinder the Twitch streamer. That's an interesting thing. It's certainly not new. We've had a bunch of other games that have been doing that, but mostly indie games. It's new, relatively new for a AAA game, but it's been the realm of indie games for a little while here, some of them anyway. I kind of wish that if they do some kind of integration, like, I get that the most basic integration is help or hinder, but it would be kind of cool if there was other ways that the developers could come up with to get the Twitch streamers or Twitch viewers interested or participating more directly in the game that a streamer is streaming. Like, I know with Jackbox Party Pack and all that stuff, like, you can, when somebody's playing that, there's a code up on screen, and you can join it from the web or any other mobile device and vote on things and affect the game slightly there with that. I'm kind of interested in seeing there being something more than just help or hinder, like some other integrations, like maybe obviously there's the most basic of just chat, but it would be nice if they came up with something. I don't know what. I don't know what it would be. Like, maybe viewers can unlock, maybe there's like a choose your own adventure kind of thing for the viewers, where they can vote on different choices, storyline choices, and then whichever one gets the most votes ends up being the twist that the streamer will come up to at some point. Like, I don't know. Yeah, like maybe it affects like an NPC's behavior or something, or what an NPC says, or I don't know. I'm just, or, oh, that would be a cool one. That would be a really cool one if, you know, in, what's the name of that game? Divinity Original Sin. In that game, you can affect, like, you weren't affecting the NPCs per se, but you could affect what your other, like, your non-player character would say. Like, if you were playing it solo, you had you and your other party member, you could affect what your other party member would say to you in return, to your character in return, and certain things. And it'd be kind of interesting if the viewers of a Twitch stream, you know, while the streamer is talking to an NPC, if the viewers could sort of vote on what the NPC would say next. Although it'd be really rough doing that because of the delay, like 20-second delay and stuff. But that would be kind of an interesting little twist there. Like, maybe they could affect, or maybe it's more like a mood thing. Like, they could make the NPCs be, you know, happy or sad or something. You know, something that would affect the game in such a way that the streamer would get a different game, not just based on their own actions, but based on the actions of them and the audience. Or maybe the audience would be like the horde or the enemies, and they're doing things to try to manipulate make the enemies stronger or make them weaker or whatever. I feel like they're getting onto something. I feel like they're almost there at a point where the integration is really fun. It's just they need to go one more step somewhere to really make it a good, I don't know, a good catch, a good hitch, whatever English word you can use for that. So I'm interested in seeing these things. I'm interested in seeing somebody go a little bit further and see if they can really get everybody involved in the game. That would be really cool. But anyway, that was that's why I picked that article out. I was like, I'll link it to your Eurogamer article that talks about this, that they compare it to Twitch Plays, you know, Pokemon and Twitch Plays whatever, which is not the same thing. I don't know why they integrate those two thoughts, because they're totally different. The two totally different things. One is random people controlling the actions of a solo game, and the other one is random people affecting in some moderate way the game that somebody else is playing. So it's just I don't know why they're confusing these two things, but it is what it is. But I really wanted to put that out because I really wanted to have that little discussion about, you know, where integrations are going and stuff like that. So I think that's pretty cool, and that's I'm like I said, I'm interested in seeing how much further that can be pushed and trying to get even more of that integration going. Be it more like someone sitting on the couch with you and helping you out, but they have their own controller and they're you know, doing things actively in the game that you can't see, you know. But anyway, that I think will do it for this episode of Cube Ramblings. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching or listening on SoundCloud. I am really wiped out right now. I hope it's not coming through too much in the recording. But thanks again for watching and listening, everybody, and I will see you next Sunday.